And I hope you're having an amazing day. So today we'll be talking about inbound API using Apex code. In my previous lecture, we discussed about inbound APIs using Postman and writing no piece of a code. So I will highly encourage you to please check my previous video if you haven't had a chance to look at it, because I won't be talking about authentication or connected apps today. I expect you to know. So what we're going to do today is pure hands-on coding. So most of the times you will be in a state where you might have to customize your endpoints to expose it to clients who are going to consume your org or Salesforce org API to do integration, right? So I mean, we haven't have to do such thing because we often relied on out-of-box Salesforce APIs, which did the work for us for most of the case. But for whatever reason, right? If you wanted to customize your endpoints, you can do that, so that you can expose that to your third-party providers, to integrate the third-party systems. Right? So what we're going to do, we're going to write an Apex class, right? And then we're going to define an endpoint. And then we're going to use Workbench to probably get the data and probably post the data, right? Sounds simple. We're going to make it very short and simple, right? We don't want it to complicate it. So let's dive in. So first thing first, you need to log into your org. So I would highly encourage you to try this on your free developer account. If you're someone who's trying this out for the first time, please do not use Customer Sandbox, right? It doesn't look good. You're experimenting on someone else's org, right? Cool. Sounds good. Right. So what we're going to do, we're going to jump into our dev console. So the way to go to dev console, go to get code icon and developer console. And it will take you to dev console here. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a new class. So let's create a new class. Let's name it as account info. I mean, you can do that on any S objects. That's, just to keep it simple, we're going to do that on account, right? Okay, so we got a public class. Just make it global. And now we're going to annotate this with REST resource, right? And we're going to do, excuse me, URL mapping equals to, okay, so we are going to keep the name same as the class, so just nothing fancy here, right? So this is important, right? REST resource, did I spell it correctly? Yeah, I think I spelled it correctly. So this actually defines your endpoint, right? So using which you can interact with your accounts. So what we're going to do, excuse me, I got a sore throat, so bear with me, please. Okay, so we're going to write a static method here, and we're going to do list of account, and so we're going to do get account. And so this will be HTTP get. So I presume you guys are familiar with HTTP verbs, right? HTTP get, post, delete, right? And put. So I won't be talking about that much. I expect you to know this. So HTTP get, right? So this is we are getting. So what we're gonna do, just to simplify it, let's assume that we wanted to get 5 accounts, right? Any accounts, doesn't matter. So what we're gonna do, so list of accounts A equals to select name. What I want is just a name. You can add other fields, but I'm just gonna restrict it to name. Limit 5 and return A. Right? Pretty straightforward. Nothing fancy here. Let's save it. And okay, cool. Now what we're gonna do, a post to create an account object. So static string post new account. You can give whatever name you want. String a name. Just be careful, right? With the params you're using. If you're using a name, then please make sure that in your JSON request you need to use the field name as a name, right, instead of name. So account A equals to new account, okay, a dot name equals to a name. We just have insert a and return a dot id, right? Okay, so what we're gonna do, HTTP post, right? Let's save it. Okay, hopefully it works. Oh no, it didn't work. It's interesting. There is a problem here. Let's see what's the problem here. Must be here something wrong. Okay, missing. All right, sure. That's right. We have to miss this. Okay. All right. Now we're gonna save this and okay. Right. That's good. Now we're gonna do a delete. The delete method. So global static void delete account. So in delete, what happens is that you need to pass the ID, right? So how to fetch an ID, I'll show you in the code. So we're gonna do rest request, right? You can name whatever you want, then rest context, all right, and request. Okay, and then I'm gonna have string val equals to request dot request URL, right, dot substring. Okay, and we're gonna do request dot request okay, request URL dot last index of. So we just actually we're getting an ID, right? So that's all we are after. So plus, sorry, 1. So what we're gonna do, delete, select ID from account where ID equals to well, right? And what we're gonna do, we're gonna annotate this with HTTP delete, right? Sounds straightforward, pretty simple, right? Cool, that's all we have to do. So what we've done, we've created a class, right? And we define an endpoint account info, and we have 3 methods here. You can use put as well to update. We're gonna keep it simple, 3, nice and easy, right? First we got get, where we're saying, okay, give me a 5 account. That's great. And then we are posting an account where we only relying on a name, so we're not doing anything else. So because you can add other stuff as well, right? If you wanted to add address, you can do comma, whatever, right? So just to keep the demo nice and easy, we are using just one example, right? Cool. All right, now we're gonna use then we have HTTP delete, where we're gonna pass an ID and then we can try to delete it, right? Cool. Excellent. Okay, now I'm not going to use Postman, right? Postman, I can use Postman, but I'm not going to use Postman. So what we're going to do, just to make it simple, I'm going to use Workbench. So I hope you know how to use Workbench. I've talked about it. And if you guys not sure how to use a Workbench, I have covered a video explaining how to use Workbench and all kind of stuff you can do with Workbench. I will put a link below in the description at the top as well. So please check that out if you're someone who's not comfortable with Workbench. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna jump into another tab in Chrome. Gonna go Workbench to developer.com. Since I'm using production, because it's my free developer account, so I'm not using Sandbox. So please choose production. If you're using Sandbox, you're gonna use Sandbox, right? So don't worry about the API version. So we're gonna do login with Salesforce. And we're gonna do utilities, right? And we're gonna do, okay, so what we're gonna do, so we're gonna take this off, right? And we're gonna do Apex REST, okay? And then we're gonna rely on the name of this class, this one, endpoint. So this is very important. Whatever you define here, that's what you call here. It doesn't matter the name of a class. You can put your name if you want. So and the class name could be anything else, right? So let's see. Oh, let's see. Sorry, it doesn't. Okay, so I haven't put. Oh, hopefully it will work, right? If not, we have to troubleshoot. There you go. We got 5 accounts, right? Okay, just to test it, let's make it to 6, right? To see if it's working correctly. It's working correctly, but just to give you an idea, right? Okay, right, now let's go again and try it again. All right, there you go. We got 6 accounts, right? Fantastic, nice and easy. Okay, now what we're gonna do, we're gonna create the second one, that's the post. Okay, so we're gonna do, okay, so as I said, in usual account, you normally write name, right? And we're gonna do whatever, that's right. You know, Captain Marvel. Okay, sorry if I spelled it wrong. Okay, so if you try this, it will give a JSON error. Let me show you what I meant by that. Okay, JSON error, because there is no such field called a name, because we have defined it as a name, right? So just pay attention to that, keep into consideration. If you experience something like that, it could be something to do with the field, right? So we got an ID here, so you got an ID here, right? And then let's look at okay, so let's see if it deletes. Okay, and then it's delete, execute. All right, raw response. Okay, now what we're gonna do, this one simple stuff. Go here, we have a custom account, a subject. This is a nice way you can check if the account exists. Right, there is okay, service not found at this. Okay, that's fine. And let's see if this works. Right, method not allowed. Oh, sorry, my bad. Okay, so we got a lot of stuff here, and let's see if it works. Okay, right, we got none. Okay, that's great. So we're gonna go back to, so that means there is no account created. So you can actually check it out. Okay, you know what we can do? All right, okay, just to make it simplified. Right, service data, account info, right? Okay, just keep it there, and just post it one more account, right? And just keep Captain Marvel 1, 2, 3, right? And then we're gonna look at this so-called query to see if it exists or not. So we're gonna go to raw response and ID. Excuse me. Query, so-called query. There's a nice and easy option here. Account. Okay. Field. So okay. Select ID from account where ID equals to this one. All right, so you got one record here, right? Fantastic. Now let's go back to REST Explorer again, and we're gonna delete this boy here, and we're gonna do delete. Okay, all right, let's go back to query again, and let's see if it works. All right, there you go. Voila. It's deleted. I mean, I just wanted to make sure that it works correctly, because I often double check stuff, because you can't assume anything, right? So yeah, so that's pretty much what I wanted to cover. I think that if you are someone who wanted to do a lot of custom endpoint, then this video will be of great help to you. But one thing you should keep into consideration, that please do not jump into straight away the inbound custom Apex development, because Salesforce gives you a lot of option out of box, right? You can do usual account to do whatever you want, right? Only use code if you think it's really important. Otherwise, please avoid using it, right? Please use the existing APIs and provided to you by Salesforce, right? Because it's often better not to jump into code straight away, because you need to look what's the option out there, right? That's one of the good quality of your programming. All right, that's being said, that's all I wanted to cover today. So from next topic, I'm going to talk about Einstein. So we're going to start an Einstein series. So the way it's going to work, I will be starting with the basic Einstein, and then once I finish the basic Einstein, we're going to go with the certification pathway for Einstein, right? So in the basic Einstein, the first step, I might talk a bit about machine learning, like supervised, what is regression, what is classification, right? And what is linear regression? We're going to talk about equation, right? And we're going to look at the basic model, because I just wanted you guys to understand a little bit of machine learning, very basic, before we dive deep into the tooling side of Salesforce, right? It's good to know what you're dealing with under the hood, right? Like classification, how, to see if some person has a cancer or some person has not a cancer, or regression, right? Where you determine the house prices can go up and down based on, certain, feature set, right? It's pretty straightforward, nothing fancy. Machine learning is not really hard. But deep learning is hard. I must acknowledge that. Machine learning, if you learn, and if you have, if you practice and if you understand the concept, you will work your way through it. But that being said, we don't need very in-depth knowledge of machine learning when it comes to Einstein. So, but it's good to have. If you are someone like me who wanted to know how things work under the hood, I would highly encourage you to learn machine learning. It will be very useful for you. Cool. That being said, adios and greetings from New Zealand.